Eric from East Downtown has a question about proper pumping.
Well, pumping of sand.
Sand.
Well, what happens, he had a plumber came in, did some work. And now the plumber says he should backfill with some sand. So Eric writes, because of his peers, he says the ones on the inside middle are showing about 6 inches and the outside ones are covered. A foundation engineer friend of mine says sand pumping is all for show. As long as I keep the outer perimeter of the house filled with no holes and graded correctly, it should be almost airtight. So that's what his friends tell him. So Eric went and dug some holes around the house. And this is kind of like, Eric, I love you, but this picture is kind of a Rorschach test. We're trying to figure out what's going on here. Do you see?
Like something under the ocean.
It does. It does. Did you send us vacation pictures? Anyway, he says 95%.
Like it's got shells in the concrete. Yeah. That's old.
It is. It's an old house, yeah.
You're not allowed to do that anymore.
95% of the pilings, he says I could not stick a screwdriver past a centimeter into it. But one seemed a little rotted and the screwdriver went in about an inch. So Tom, Eric wants to know, is sand pumping needed or is it just for show? Will it help him?
The only time you pump sand under a house is if over the years it gets lower under the house than the outside, like your engineer friend said, and the water's not draining away, but it's actually sitting under the house. That is a problem. If it's not doing that after the rain, I don't know about the air tightness. It's not going to be airtight under the house, like they said, nor should it be, because it should be dry. You should have vents, which will alleviate a lot of the moisture that might stop a lot of that rot. So I'm hoping it's vented under this house. But the bottom line is this, I wouldn't pump sand unless you're having a pooling problem underneath the house. And for show, I don't know if it's that much of a show, but I just think it's not going to help.
Sell your tickets right now. Come and see the show.
Yeah, it's not going to stop these things from having some minor rot. And you'll find that like on the stilt homes down in Galveston from the old days with the creosote poles, you can stick a screwdriver in some of those, maybe 2.5 inches all the way around, but the heart is still in there. So it's all in compression. So it'll take a long time for it to rot away. And maybe someday you'll have to replace that one or redo it, but not a big deal. It's probably an older home, so you got a lot of life left. So I wouldn't bother pumping unless it's pooling.
So I guess the thing he's got to look for is go under, if he's going to dig those little holes and look, see, do you see any water pooling in there?
Yeah, after a heavy rain, if you go under there and everything is dry,
you're good to go.
And the other thing is, don't try to make it airtight if it's a crawl space. So if the engineer's telling you it's all airtight, I'm not sure that. I think there's a little. The translation of that was not quite right. Something wasn't right there in that comment. But the fact of the matter is, you do need to have 1 square foot of opening for every 150 square feet of house of underneath there, or space underneath there, just for proper ventilation.
For the airspace underneath.
Yeah, so the moisture can move in and out. That's all.
All right. All right, you got a question? We'd like your questions to move in and out. The way you do is send them to HomeShowRadio.com. Right there on the homepage. Click on the Ask Tom form. We'll post your answer just like these videos. Subscribe to our channel, click the bell,
Ding.
and we'll ring yours when we post a new one.